down to dealing with heroes that auto attacks a lot. To be fair, Claude, yeah, the Blazing Duet, annoying, right? But late stages of the game, you don't really rely on Blazing Duet all that much, do you?
I think Smart Omega is taking a different approach on how they understand the patch notes a little bit different, right? They're one of the first things as a tanker that really made a huge change in terms of itemization priority is that usually you get like Dominance Eyes and then Anti-Curas and yada yada. But nowadays, we've seen Thunderbelt as a priority. But you know what really works well for roamers with Thunderbelt? Clock of Destiny. So you get an early Clock of Destiny and Thunderbelt, especially for heroes like Hylos. Early game, they are going to struggle. But the moment you get towards the mid game, like the third item power spec, fourth item power spec, right? You will feel like Hylos is unkillable and it hurts so much.
Yeah, I think Hylos is one of those heroes where people in pubs, especially at high level pubs, have actually been seeing quite a lot of it. It has a similar sort of rate of being complained about to Zask. Maybe a little less popular, not quite as popular as Zask, but there are a lot of people who swear by Hylos. Like, he's straight up very oppressive, even in the early game, because he can actually do more damage than a lot of people anticipate. And he is being put in the EXP lane here as well.
Interesting. Hylos is one of those heroes which appreciates the old Thunderbelt because it scales with HP, and the fact that Hylos have massive max HP by the end of the game's part. But you know what? I'm gonna leave all of that analysis and talking over to both of you boys as we are moving on to the very first game of the final series of today.
Well, thank you so much, Abstract. Here, we're going to be jumping straight into game here. It is going to be the final series for today. Rebellion Esports versus Smart Omega here. And having Rio on the Akai, it is going to be a little bit of a different approach here. Crowd control over burst. What do you think, Stafa?
I think it could be pretty effective because we see on the side of Rebellion, right, their team fight is actually pretty strong. They have NetherRealm, they have Glorious Pathway, they got a Grok on top of all of that. So having a way to really disrupt their positioning is going to be quite useful. What I worry about is whether or not it may end up being anti-synergy with Terizla and the as well.
Sorry, let's correct this. The team on the left is actually Smart Omega.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
And the team on the right is Rebellion Esports.
Okay, I was a bit confused for a moment, but yeah, basically reverse what I just said. Like, regardless, NetherRealm with Glorious Pathway with Grok is pretty strong team fight-wise, so having Akai to split up and control the fight somewhat with that heavy spin is going to be pretty effective, but they need to be careful that they don't end up pushing people out of penalty zone or the Nightmaric spawn.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, it comes out. I want to see what Ryota's itemization is going to be looking like, right? Does he play a little bit safe here? Based on what I see here as well, Ryota actually rushed the Elegant Gem. So that's going to be a very, very big factor, right? And we talk about changes when it comes to Elegant Gem. Last time is like, hey, every time you level up, you get mana regen. This time it's like, it is going to have a cooldown, but as long as either your mana or your HP is drops 50%, boom, you are gonna regenerate. But in this case, Hylos is able to utilize both the mana and HP because his spells depend on both bars.
Yeah, the changes to Thunderbelt and Clock of Destiny end up working well for him. And we can see down here a skirmish.
And, well, nothing happened here because it seems like Rebellion, they just don't really want to overcommit to this fight as well. Chakra going to be a little bit trouble. He's a little bit close towards the level 4 here. He needs to be a little bit careful on how he approaches this fight because both the roamers are going to be hitting their force at the same time. So nobody is going to be able to take advantage of that situation. For now, Ryota going to try and buy time here. He's going to try and threaten Rio as much as he can. Look at this, Ryo. He's going to take a little bit too much damage from Ryota. He's trying to challenge the fight, but he does have the Glorious Pathway Vengeance available, but he's taking so much damage. But does he die? The NetherRealm finally drops himself. He's trying to buy a little bit more time, but they don't seem to be able to find any kill here. Joel finally shows himself from the sidelines, and Rebellion, they lose Ryu, but Karth is going to be the next to fall as well. Ukir gonna be able to finish him off, but it is an all-out brawl for both sides.
That's what you call a mess, basically. I think, Smart Omega on the left did actually end up making a pretty smart play there by having Andoryu go for the buff to hit level 5 before Rio, who was focusing the turtle the entire time, which meant that it was a lot easier to get that retreat timing. I don't think that Jom needed to die in that last fight. He probably stayed a little bit too long, but being able to get a kill very early on the enemy jungle, out of all things, is gonna help a little bit on that Moskov to get scaled up.
Yeah, speaking of scaling back right now, because as of yet, Rebellion seems to be able to actually find a very, very good trade over Smart Omega, and that's something that I think it is going to be a little bit of a problem for Smart Omega, considering that they do have this high loss pickup, which I think he bought a lot of space, but they just couldn't find the initial setup, which is a big problem. But speaking of setups right now, here comes the Zaz. They are going to try and force a fight against Ukir. Suelo is going to be able to get out to safety.
Not too much happening here in the mid lane. As we know, Zaz has that get out of jail free card, so Suelo gonna be able to use it to get out quite easily. And this Zaz actually is a bit of a threat. He's already 2-0-1, so probably the most fed player on the side of a Rebellion. So we will need to see Smart Omega play quite wisely to make sure that they're not caught too long within the range of his damage.
Yeah, and as of now, I think it is going to be in a situation where they have to try and drag this out as long as they can, right? Like, Rebellion has a composition where they are looking up towards Matt to try and finish up fights. So the entire composition is designed to make space, make time, and be as disruptive as possible. Whereas Rebellion Esports, they are going to be trying to find pickoffs, which in this case has been a little bit difficult considering how Smart Omega is trying to scatter around all these fights.
Yeah, but they don't really need to force pickoffs either, because they do have a Claude and a Zaz to play around once you get into those late game stages, so they don't have to worry too much about damage. In fact, they probably want to be a bit more careful here, because the other side actually... Oh, hold on.
Oh boy, ODTZ getting pulled back here. Force Primal buff and go for the disengage. Meanwhile, Ryota still holding on to Glorious Pathway here. He's going to hold them off, but a 5-man penalty zone coming in from Cars to try and chain them out, but it is not going to be enough to clean the house here. The NetherRealm saves the day. They lose Chaknu, but the Dominator's descent is there, and Cars looking to try and get a little bit more, but nice sidestep from Andoryu. Does he die though? Nope, he will survive with barely a HP, but Rebellion Esports, they are fighting back. They are bouncing back as well.
Yeah, that was actually a good timing on the enhanced sword for Andoryu to get out of there. And we could tell that... Oh, wow, even picking up Joe in the top lane. Rebellion Esports claiming control over the map, wanting a little bit of vengeance for their last meeting in the previous days of the competition.
So much setup potential here. Matt just having one of the cleanest games thus far from the side of Rebellion Esports, and it is helping them so much here. And because of this, Matt, he's getting the space he needs, and this is huge because that's the game plan for Rebellion Esports. Whereas Smart Omega, I don't know, it feels like they're struggling to even, approach fights here. They're just reacting to whatever Rebellion Esports is throwing onto them.
And we have to note that although both teams have pretty good late game scaling, Smart Omega is actually a team that can make a little bit more happen early on because they have Grok, they have the Julian with the Fair Mist. They can play somewhat aggro here, though I suppose they are being respectful due to the fact that Rebellion does actually have a good amount of pickoff. The problem is, it's not just being respectful, it's the fact that they are already nearly 2k behind, 7 minutes in. So you gotta make sure that Jom is still able to farm somewhat safely, because this is going to be their main win condition once we get a little later in.
Playing around Joms now, Cars now. Going to be trying to clear off the minions as much as he can. He's got the Body Smith there, trying to sustain his way through, but the rest of Rebellion, do they want to punish Rio? The Glorious Pathway is going to be expended as well, and Rio, he does have this heavy spin, but no, he doesn't want to commit. He'll just let it through. All right.
I think that's fine. They don't really need to forcefully go for a kill onto Ryota at this point, because I do unfortunately feel like Ryota's kind of run out of the early game window where he can actually make something happen. He wants to play for that 2-3 item spike now before he becomes, as you put earlier, a bit of an unkillable obstacle in the path of his opponent. So they don't have to worry too much about him for now. They're gonna still continue focusing on making sure that Jom doesn't farm safely while also maintaining control over neutral objectives.
Well, he didn't opt to go for the Clock of Destiny nor the Thunder Belt, so that's going to be a little bit of a problem for him because he hasn't completed a full item build, and because of this, Rebellion Esports will be able to take this Lord very, very easily in the hands, and Smart Omega, just no response at all.
Things are looking a little bit dicey. It's definitely not over. Like, despite the advantage that Rebellion has, Smart Omega are still in a perfectly okay position as long as, again, they're able to enable Jom as their late game scaling. And if they're able to get more items under the belt of Ryota and Ukir as well, their late game team fighting is still going to be pretty solid overall as long as they're able to bait out resources and time engagements correctly.
Yeah, and this is going to be a little bit of a interesting factor here, considering the fact that now Smart Omega is playing a very similar playstyle. But oh wait, hold that thought. The fight comes in, Dominus Descent. Okay, he's going to be able to get out. So, wow, that was a scary moment for him.
Yeah, Nazuelu had already escaped from that before it was pulled in. Jom in some trouble, but I think he was able to escape, so not too much of a worry there. In terms of itemization, we can see Matt quite ahead of Jom, nearly 2k ahead actually, already finished with his Trinity, while Jom is still looking to complete that final item there. Looks like he might even decide to go for a Wind of Nature.
Yeah, it is going to be tough here. Heavy Spin going to be used in as well to try and catch onto his Ryota, and now he's going to try and buy a little bit more time. He's got the Vengeance, still holds it on a little bit more. He's healing himself with the Glorious Pathway, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But Auditizi taking some serious damage from the Enhanced Scythe here. And Anduryu, once again, Smart Omega is just giving away so much control from Rebellion Esports.
I do personally feel like some resources were wasted there. I don't think Heavy Spin needed to be used. I don't think Primal Raft needed to be used, especially since Ryota was the one that they were trying to burst down. He didn't even have to use Vengeance. I think that Rebellion could have just exerted pressure and taken the tower without needing to commit too many abilities, because the likeliness of being able to finish off their high-lows is still a little bit low until Mac can get his 4th item.
Yeah, it is going to be a little bit of time coming from them, but Smart Omega, they're just making sure that Anduryu and Jom gets towards the late game, right? They've losed out so much early game potential. They're just playing a little bit safe. They're not taking unnecessary risks unless they really have to. In this case, Chaknu in a little bit of trouble, forced to flicker out as well. Cars does see out a lot of members here. Does he commit to this fight? But it all comes down towards the waiting game as well. They're just not super just overcommitting, considering that how much setup that Rebellion Esports have.
This is a very different game from what we've been seeing of our series thus far today in day one, because basically every team here has been playing somewhat aggressively, right? We've been seeing mistakes being made, egos being checked, but Smart Omega is playing incredibly respectful and slow.
Well, when Jom comes in play, he's going to be the guy that goes with ego as well. He comes in with the spear. He is going to go in for the commitment as well. And now, Cars, he narrowly escapes. Auditizi also buying so much time. The amount of CCs coming in. Smart Omega, again, just can't seem to find a single kill. Auditizi pops the Primal Raft. They want to re-engage, but guess what? Here it comes. The Heavy Spin. They found Ukir, and they won't catch him off guard. No Purify to actually get out to safety, and because of this, no Nether Realm. But of course,
he's just back.
He is just back.
That's fair miss for you. Like, that is actually a really nice target to catch, because if you don't have to deal with Nether Realm, you're basically guaranteed to win your team fights. But because of Faramiss's passive, Ukir just comes back right away, which means that Rebellion isn't actually able to secure the Lord for free or anything like that. But they still have plenty of resources outside of Heavy Spin. Ideally, though, they wait until the cooldown on that is back, because they do still want to use it if they can.
Yep, they're waiting for the right moment as well. The Nightmare Spawn is just zoning them off. Everyone from Smart Omega is just so afraid to clear him off, and this is the problem in the early stages of the game. This Nightmare Spawn is just so much zone and space here. They finally commit the spells, but do they overcommit? Because Lord now getting melted down to his half HP. Ryota looking for the fight. Ukir looking to re-engage as well, but look at this, the flank. Anduryu, he wants to go in for the finish. Glorious Pathway finally expanded as well to try and shove them away. Joel finds one, but guess what, man? It has to bail out of the fight. Forces are blazing to where Smart Omega pops the Nether Realm, disengages, but Joel's still fighting to try and mow them all down. He's looking for kills, but it seems like no one is going to get finished off as well. And Doryu getting caught all by himself. He thought he could burst the Lord, but instead, he will be picked apart by 4 players.
Smart Omega is playing way too afraid right now.
No,
they have the damage. They should be going for this. Look at that. They nearly took out Suelo. They need to be committing. They are costing lives by allowing Rebellion Esports to retreat and re-engage.
Now Jom, he's gonna make work with the tier 1 middle as well. So he's making a lot of space for the team. But the rest of Rebellion now in a little bit of trouble here as well. Chakdu with the 2-man wall charge. And now they will crumble. They finally commit. Rebellion disengages. And now Primal Wrath from RDTZ. They want to turn the fight. Chakdu will fall in the hands of the Dominators Ascend. And now what? Huh?
He did miss that.
He missed the penalty zone, and Jom outclasses him. And Jom, what a clutch! And look at how split the fight is as well. Smart Omega finally focuses on towards the Lord.
They finally decided to go for the aggressive play, found a good angle, committed, and that is what I was looking for. The Lord falls into Smart Omega's hands, and we are now seeing a point in the game where Moscov's scaling is really kicking into effect. Yes, Moskov and Claude can somewhat match each other, but the way that the damage is done is very different, in which Matt has to commit to AoE in order to match the DPS output of Jom. Jom, he just needs to find someone and hit them with skewers.
Oof. Okay, let's talk about the housekeeping as well. Smart Omega didn't really clean up the house a little bit as well. Jom tried to clear it off, but at the same time, that's a small victory for Rebellion. They get a free tier 3 without just doing too much in that situation. And because of this, Smart Omega now, they may, if they don't get a lot of advantage of this Lord, it is going to be a very, very tough game for them to close out game.
Logically speaking, with the lineup they have, with the items they've already completed, this should be at least 1 inhibitor, 2 ideally, potentially even 3 if they're able to catch Rebellion out. Because right now, Smart Omega have finally gained control over the map. They've been playing very safe, very disciplined, maybe kind of scared the whole game, but it has paid off. They're actually in the driver's seat now. I'm hoping that they use this as an opportunity to actually pressure rather than react.
Yeah, but now with the barriers coming in here, they are going to try and sync up the lanes here. Smart Omega gonna try and finish off the fight, but again, Rebellion, it's up to Matt here. They need to close out something. They need to start a play here. Ukir in position for the Nether Realm. It comes down to the big catch as Suelo setting up the zone as well. Yes, he goes for Dominant Descent, but gets immediately bursted down by Andori. The spear doesn't connect, but the Rebellion, they lose a tier 3, but that should be all.
Yeah, I think what we are seeing here is that Smart Omega is a team that only does the...
Rio with the heavy spin, he catches too. He's gonna try and burst down Endurio. Netherrealm finally jumps to try and turn the fight, but Rio is gonna go down. Now with the wall charge, catching one more. Winter Crown coming in. Can he get out? Cars will be able to flicker out to safety. They lose one, but that's all. Oh, Smart Omega wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake there from Rio. His team wasn't really ready to follow him up.
Dominance Descent comes in, so RDTZ force a Primal Wrath to disengage, but they're just exchanging blows after blows, but nobody is getting that finisher.
You know, this reminds me a lot of some team's gameplay that I've seen before in the past that I'm personally not a big fan of, and it works very well. It's very effective from Smart Omega because they're basically playing as safe as possible. They are making sure to get like the maximum of what they feel is safe without risking anything, but it also results in like a very...
Is that team's
It's a bit boring.
Start with S?
Oh, yes.
And they are already disbanded?
Oh, yes.
Okay, we are on the same page.
Yes.
I agree. It's kind of like a snake and anaconda kind of wrapping around the victim, slowly choking them to death. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, because like, I don't blame him for... Hold on.
Oh, okay. You know, here comes penalty zone, comes in from Cars. He is currently stuck as well, but this time he doesn't have a flicker, so he is gonna die. Meanwhile, Matt from the backlines tries to go for the blazing duet, instantly gets cancelled as well. RDTZ gonna be caught all by himself as Smart Omega picks up 1, picks up 2. They lose Andrew, but Jom is still alive. Dominator's Descent comes in. Suelo has to sacrifice the little alien to back out.
And we will see that Smart Omega just go for the retreat here. They might try to contest mid inhibitor because they are 4v3.
Oh boy. Now tier 3 also gonna be falling here. Jome is gonna try and clean out as much as he can. He's poking everyone with those spears. Oh my god.
And this is why Moskov is so scary.
That is so annoying. Like, how do you deal with that? Like,
you ban Moskov. That's what a lot of the teams earlier in the day have been doing, and we've been seeing a little less of it here, and the teams are on the receiving end of why this hero is such a pain. And we can see now that even though the net worth difference is not that much, Smart Omega are being the more disciplined team overall. They're grouping together, they're making sure not to overextend, they're actually baiting Rebellion Esports to be the ones to make the first move.
yeah, but now Ryota is gonna tank his way towards HP, half HP on towards his health. Doesn't have a lot of sustains yet in terms of Skyguard and Helmet, but they are waiting for those backup plays. But Rio, he does scout out Endorio, but he's not going to be able to go in for the backspin coming in. But Cars now, they need to disengage. They're in trouble. Heavy Speed trying to buy a little bit more time. Ice Winter Crown comes in, but they need to get out. Glorious Pathway to try and slow them down as well. And a Smart Omega, they caught them out of position, and they are going to continue with the assault. NetherRealm trying to extend the fight, buy a little bit more time. The Dominant Descent not going to be able to pick anyone apart. Finally gets taken down by Jome. And because of this, Smart Omega, they get away with murder. They get away with murder. As Cars, the only one that has fallen in this entire skirmish.
This is gonna be a bit of a slow burn, but Smart Omega are taking steps, small steps, but definite steps to victory. They are able to get another Lord. You can see their positioning is pretty good. They're able to catch out Rebellion whenever any of their members are a little bit too far out.
Oh boy, here it comes. The spear comes with the back lines, but they do find ODTZ. They stop the exit with the Grok block as well, and Rebellion, they just can't seem to escape this. And now they use the heavy speed, but it doesn't matter. The damage is too much. Rebellion, they're still trying to clear off the minions here, but Smart Omega, they've got so much CCs. Jome is still healthy. NetherRealm comes in. They're focusing on the crystal, and they will take game 1. Smart Omega tactically winning the game.
I think tactically is exactly the way to describe it. They made sure that their strategy was already known from the beginning, made sure not to take any risky steps, and bait the opponent into making mistakes that they themselves could take advantage of. And then even though the early game, it seemed like Rebellion were doing a good job, Smart Omega was just biding their time for the perfect opportunity to strike back.
It's all about dragging the game until they have got Jome to go online. And regardless, all the entire game, early game, mid game, late game, they have the get out of jail free card coming in from the Faramis. And even to the later stages of the game, they knew that they have the understanding, or rather, they have the opportunity to just run right in the face of Rebellion. Especially if Rebellion have decided to start up a battle first, they will always have an answer for that counter attack.
I think that's the problem that Rebellion has in terms of composition, right? Because they've got a setup compositions, but they just don't have a finisher. Like, can you count Zaz as a finishing hero? No. Zaz is a hero that makes space and kind of set up the team fight. The finisher pretty much comes in from Matt almost every single time, and I don't think Matt is enough to burst down the composition that Smart Omega has. Like Ryota, extremely difficult to kill off in terms if you don't have the necessary burst, or in this case, they don't even have the necessary peel. When every single time Suelo drops his spell, everyone from Smart Omega just opens up NetherRealm, and like, yeah, what are you gonna peel?
Yeah, I think the main idea coming in from Rebellion is that they have a lot of durability in their lineup, right? They have the Archive for the setup. We have the Terizla also that can set up, and let's not forget about the Edith. She can set up as well. But it all goes down into the drain the moment that we have got the NetherRealm being popped, and after the NetherRealm pop, what happens? You have already used your penalty zone, perhaps your heavy spin, and perhaps Altizi or DTZ has already broken out of Ilax. You have ran out of a lot of damage control, any form of burst that you can actually bring Omega down post Netherrealm.
It's really disgusting to see how Rebellion is playing this game, because pay attention to the damage there, right? It's 322,000 as compared to 262,000 for Smart Omega. Rebellion has been peeling, but the peel isn't just enough for the finisher, and because of that, it just forced Smart Omega to keep resetting to a point that they're just not getting any value at all.
The thing is, Zask and Claude both have good damage consistency, but like you guys have already highlighted, neither of them are exactly finishes. Claude is in a very weird spot as a marksman where he doesn't really do the damages that take someone out. He's more meant to jump in, blazing duet, drop everyone low for someone else to finish things off, you know, right?
Correct.
Someone else needs to take the whittle down roll, or Claude himself does the whittle down roll. And when you have a comp like this, you have Terizla, you have Akai, you have Edith, you have so much setup, but the DPS heroes are not able to do the finishing damage, then it ends up being very awkward most of the time.
So with that all said and done, Smart Omega took advantage of the draft coming from Rebellion Esports, and of course Jome managed to get his way, paving all the way to the end game, getting himself a full 6 item slot with a total KDA of 3:2:7, with a total of 773 GPM. And in fact, for a marksman to get 100% kill participation, I gotta have to say that is a lot. But there's only a total of 10 kills on the map.
That's the thing about Jome, right? Whenever he plays, if the team plays around him, he will perform. And I really like how Smart Omega is just playing to his strength, because you see a lot of instances. Jome is the guy that starts the fight, Jome is the guy that peels the fight, and Jome is the guy that ends the fight. He is the all-rounder of the team. Like, he's not the jack of all trades. He is the guy that does every single thing for the team.
Yeah, so understandably, Jome, he has a very strong idea as to how he wants to enter into this game, and he knows exactly what kind of threat may eventually arise onto him in the later stages of the game, which in fact is not all that much. So all in all, you know, to encapsulate the entirety of this game, what is something that Rebellion Esports should do in the next game in order to find themselves in a 1-1 tiebreaker fight?
Shut down Jome.
Shut down Jome?
Yeah.
That's all?
Make sure he cannot shot call properly. Make his life miserable.
I also think that fixing the draft will play a pretty notable role here.
Fair enough.
Because, like, I don't think Rebellion were doing a bad job.